I don't know what I want to talk about today. Um, I do know one thing I wanted to mention, but I'll wait for some people to come on. See their thoughts. I'm having a really hard time with it. But what can we talk about until we get there? Huh? I suggest maybe I'll share it. The latest Roseanne episode. It hit me hard, real hard. You know what I mean? Made me do a lot of thinking. Like, holy crap, this Carl, this could be real, bud. Hold on tight. You're just maybe just not you know, a brave little individual willing to do the right things. Maybe there's something more to it. You know what I mean? Maybe now that I believed it, it's going to become a reality. Who knows? But what do we got on the YouTube there? Trump restoring order even before he steps foot into the White House. Yeah, I've mentioned I am a little worried about my country. And well, one of the things my there's the fuck that border is going to be a serious problem for Canada if they don't wake up. Like, guess what? They're not going to want to go home, and well, they're not going to have a home where they currently are. But if we're going to give them money to come here, then well, they're probably going to come. You know what I mean? It'll be a they're already on the land sort of thing. You know what I mean? Let's be hospitable and you know what I mean? Let's not vet anybody. And I know that sounds weird, kind of like someone who's supposed to be a man of Christ and supposed to be accepting of everybody. But I mean, you'd have to agree. You got to keep yourself safe, right? I mean, it, that's one of the things that they were. This is the thing where I get lost sometimes because people talk this, we need to love each other more. And I get it. We totally do. But we need some truth involved and we need to love our enemies. And I do like I don't have any enemies. I have teachers, people I learn from, you know what I mean? Like what makes little me stick or go and make up just complete nonsense about me? I don't I'm trying to figure that out. Like what makes because that's the one like what makes people hate just enough to it's just, I hate you so much. I'm gonna take shit that I don't even know about, twist it around, and make you look absolutely horrible for my pleasure. I don't get it. Trolling. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I think the thing to be reborn is that we have to give our trauma up. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can't be nice about it. You can't just be accepting back and hey, vintage. Well, I haven't seen anything on Oprah getting hauled in yet, but that would be pretty funny. Can you imagine? Oprah fooled the world with her buffoonery, eh? Could you imagine? Like she had the world loving her, and you gotta like if those rumors are true, and you gotta go that way. Like what an idiot, eh? Like like if you did it through Satan, you could have done it through fucking the truth too. You know what I mean? You could have done it through Jesus, but you know, uh, John of God, isn't that her spiritual guru that she loved? Turns out he wasn't a very nice man to humanity, right? That's why I say, hey, Eckhart Tolle sounds good. I just don't. He's, he wants people to forget about their problems. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. If you hurt people, in order to be reborn, you're gonna have to realize what you did, and you're gonna have to take ownership of what you did. You know what I mean? Vintage. This is why when I hear all this nice stuff, I think I'm nice. When I tell somebody I think they're like, I don't go looking for them most of the time. You know what I mean? I do tag Uncle Will because, well, he likes to play games. So, but so I caught you on your vintage. I'll tell the story. Maybe someone will watch the rewatch. So I got in a bit of an argument last night, and I don't even really remember how it started. But she got on about, oh, look at fucking Trump's pick, not Gates. And the funny thing is that I was going to make a video talking about Matt Gates because I was going to say, I don't really trust Matt Gates. He seems to be on the side of Israel a bit too much. I like a lot of the things that he says, but then there's that thing about the young girls and stuff like that. Well, lo and behold, before I did that video and I didn't have to look like a fool, I watched the episode of Candace where she goes all over it and how they tried to set Matt Gates up and all this bullshit, right? So I just got done watching it. And that's when the wife is like, you see that guy who, well, he was messing around with young girls. And I was like, hey, do I ever have a treat for you? Hey, let's watch this. Like, Joanna, I just watched it. No, that's your propaganda. I'm like, no, no, she backs it up with facts. People were charged. Let's let's sit down and then you can. No, I got time for that kind of bullshit. Well, you have time to hate Matt Gates because he did something to young children, right? I'm trying to let you know that, well, you're hating him for no reason because that's not, but then again, she's got Trump derangement syndrome. She thinks Trump's going to end all abortions for some reason. My wife is hooked on abortions. She personally would never have one, but for others, she that was her big Kamala Harris did a great job. Like even Canadians are mind fucked into thinking that's something that should be on the top of the list. But anyways, so I said, Joe, why don't you just like watch it and then you can determine, you can use your brain and you can say, you can show me where it's propaganda or it's made up. We can look at it together. Nothing. No, no. Like, and then Trump this, Trump that. And I was like, hey, why don't we sit down? I'll tell you the things that I don't like that Trump does and says, and you can do the same thing. But I think a lot of the things that you say are made up. And the things that I say might be made up too. Or maybe they're all real. Maybe we could sit there. No, I don't. So, anyways, I don't know how, but I was like, Joanna, because I was just about done. I was just like, if you're not willing to hear another side, I don't know what to tell you. Like this conversation just end. Like you can't put your fucking brain in mine, okay? I'm not fucking taking it on because I want to get all the information and you fucking know everything. So, I was like, "What about Taylor Swift?" You talk about fucking woman power and all this fucking shit. That person has more power and influence than probably Trump does. Why does Trump have to come out and say, "Hey, no men and women's sports"? Why does it have to be Trump? Why couldn't Taylor Swift ever come out and fucking say, "Hey, men," you know, she can't. It's gotta be fake. You would think if you're a woman of her integrity, that's something you would wanna fucking stand for, you know what I mean? But I don't know. What else was said in that conversation? Oh, yeah, she's going on about Pierre Poilievre over here in Canada, the fucking Canadian Trump. I was like, "No, Canada's fucked, there's no Trump in Canada. We got the Three Stooges." Like, and she's like, "Well, who would you vote for?" And I was like, "Well, if I had to vote, I would, like, have to vote for Pierre." You know what I mean? I'd have to take my chances that maybe he is like Trump, which, pisses her off, but I want people who are gonna protect the children, you know what I mean? That's something that but so, and she basically said she would fucking vote for Trudeau again because he would protect the rights of everybody, and I was like, "Hey, Joe, isn't he the one that wants to allow children to allow to themselves to make the decisions to mutilate themselves? Does that sound like a fucking good man?" Hey, he's prime minister, Joanna. There are men just beating the fuck out of women in sports. Like, what is it you love about Justin? What is it? Like, is it the abortion thing? That, you know what I mean? And it's like, and Joanna's like, "You wanna dictate women's" I was like, "You know what?" And me being a man of Christ and not judging anybody and thinking that God gave us our own free will, I wish we had enough common sense to know there was God, okay? But we don't. We don't know that there might be consequences for our actions, or that we might have to feel those feels of something that we did in order to get to a good place, which is always good because there's still an option, you know what I mean? But anyways, vintage, I tried telling her, I was like, "You know what? I don't care. They can put an abortion clinic on every fucking corner. And as long as there's a sign out there saying, 'Hey, just in case there's a God,' that's all I want. Think about it. You know what I mean? And anybody who works in those clinics, anybody who goes to those clinics, it's their soul. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying in the case because Joanna's always like, ah. I was like, hey, if there's something wrong with the baby and the only way to save the mother is to do that, then I think that's different than just oopsies. You know what I mean? And she's like, "What about incest? What about these kids that are raped?" I was like, "Why don't we work on making it so kids don't get raped? And why don't we like and people who get raped, like I couldn't understand like having a child and possibly having to look into the face for somebody who fucking attacks you and puts you through hell. I can't even imagine that. But other than that, I'm like, hey, Joanna, like, Why? Like, why do people not have to be responsible for themselves anymore? It's just an easy fix, like, and you say you don't believe in abortions, you would never get one, and why do you wanna fight for others to get them, you know what I mean? Like, isn't there a waiting list of people who want babies? Isn't like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Well, that's the thing, like, I hate saying it, but my wife is a full narcissist. She will not take on new information to save her life. I'm like, "Hey, Joanna, doesn't it seem weird that a guy that's been caught with so many black faces calls people fascists? That should make you question." "No, no, it was just whatever, whatever." So, okay, and he apologized. That's in the past. I'm like, "Yeah, okay." But he should really watch who he calls fascist because people called him fascist because he wore blackface in the past. So he should know to watch that because I don't think the convoy people were fascist. I think they wanted a conversation, Joanna. You know what I mean? She won't even take the time for me to say, hey, Chrystia Freeland, our deputy prime minister, is part of the WEF, Joe. Like, you gotta think outside the circle. You gotta think that there might be some bad people in the world. Okay. And well, the information that I got, if it's right, is Christia was raised by her grandfather, who was a Yahtzee player. Now, doesn't mean that she turned into a Yahtzee player. But when you look at the head of the WEF, Klaus Schwab, and his father's affiliations with the Yahtzee players themselves, then you got to start going, alarm bells are starting to go off. Then Joanna, if I told you that Christia, before she became a politician, wrote a book about how the globalists, the elites, will run the world, would you even believe it? You know what I mean? And then, Joanna, I know George Soros was just a victim of the Yahtzees, right? I know he was just a victim. But what if he decided to keep playing the game with them? And well, did you know he's big into philosophy? And that his philosophy is that if he can get enough people to think what he thinks, he can get away with shit. It's the art of perception. No bells going off, no nothing for her. Just Carl, you're crazy. You're an idiot. Okay, Joanna. Well, George has made a lot of money off of people thinking certain things. That's how he made his money. Like, and he protecting women, Joanna. You got to check out the George Soros district attorneys. You got to see if what they're all about for yourself. You know what I mean? But no, we ain't got time for that. No, we ain't got that. I can try and have the simplest of conversations with her vintage about something simple. Hey, Joe, I'm trying to put the pieces together. I can't even say it. That's the problem. I want to say to her, like, hey, Joe, that thing we took the family trip for because, well, we thought we were doing what was best for your father. Turns out maybe we didn't do what was best for us. Now, some of the reasons I think this way is because they really censored stuff. but one of the big things is that, well, the Premier of Ontario, Joanna, this is how the real world should work. If someone's trying to dictate to you or tell you to do what to do the right thing, they should do the right thing themselves and their families, you know, to set the fucking example. But Doug Ford, our premier, did not feel it necessary to get it for his family. That's when the alarm bells really went off for me. I was like, mm. And then there's the whole green belt thing. You'd have to look in Ontario with Doug Ford, and I think there was something to do with some people coming to his daughter's wedding. There was a little, you know what I mean? He's got a nice cottage. Got a nice cottage. Very nice cottage. But I don't think he's a good dude. I think he's a pussy. This motherfucker told my fellow countrymen, and he's still in charge. If you don't fucking listen to us and fucking comply, we're gonna take your licenses. We're gonna do whatever it takes to make you do what the fuck we say. And my countrymen are all like, okay, Massa, we do exactly what you say. But then again, back on the, you know what I mean? I try and bring all this other stuff to her. I'm like, hey, Joanna, does this not make sense? To me, debating should be like a huge, huge thing. You know what I mean? That would solve a lot of our problems. But, but like we found out from Billy Carson, if things don't go our way, we'll fucking scrub them from the internet. That way nobody can find out. You know what I mean? But what really got me was not like the whole Joe Rogan thing, that was odd and stuff like that. But the one thing that got me was RFK. There was like $1 million offered for RFK to debate Peter Hotez about, and you would think that kind of money, you would think science, we as society would demand science to debate, especially a man at that time was running for fucking president of the United States. If he's a fucking whack job, science should be fucking proving it, saying, hey, people, this guy's out of his mind. We would never do what he's insinuating. You know what I mean? But no, there's Pierre Hotez in his little fucking bow tie, walking around the streets. Old peasants. Science, science, science. You know what I mean? But then again, where I lost real faith in science, what's his name? Neil Patrick Harris or whatever his name is. When that guy don't know the difference between a man and a woman, he should have been automatically kicked the fuck out of science. You know what I mean? Hey, bud, your brain ain't working right. You don't need to be dictating to the rest of us who do know the difference that biology is a thing. You know what I mean? But then again, Apper, Apper was into science. Did you know that? Physics, science, all that stuff. Did you know that? Big into her. Big, big, big. Used to have some big shindigs and stuff like that. I wonder if, well, his name's not Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris, he's the one that played on. You know who I'm talking about, right? Science. But anyways, back to the and the wife. I try and put the pieces just to say, hey, maybe we should look at it. If people did harm to our children, we should probably make them acknowledge it, you know what I mean? This isn't something to sit silent on, Joanna. What's done is done. Well, let's make sure it doesn't happen again. That's what a good human being would do, but anyways, so we have to go somewhere to do some paperwork, and, I told this story before, but the guy there, he made a mistake. He mentioned that, and, then he started talking some more because I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, my wife wouldn't get it." I was like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, she wouldn't get it, but she got it." So she could travel with me. Just had to pay for a doctor's note. Yeah, can you imagine that? Oh, the upper echelon of the world just can pay their way, and you know what I mean? That's kinda weird. But anyways, he did talk his buddy, who was, like, early 50s into getting it, and while he's no longer with us, but he also knows a bunch of young men that he noticed men are dying younger now. You didn't notice that, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, are you putting the correlation together? Is it ding-donging in your head?" 'Cause I got him to admit that, well, the only reason his buddy got that is so he could travel with him, right? So could you imagine sitting with that in your head going, "I fucking talked him into getting it, and maybe he's not here today," because you think that that would be something you would fight for. You'd be like, "You motherfuckers conned me. I conned my friend, and he possibly" but nothing no, no, I got money, I'm good. Still traveling. Fuck. Hey, it's weird though, and I'm supposed to think, yeah. Bill Gates, anything Bill Gates has made money on, I'm a little concerned about, you know what I mean? That includes Bud Light and Kid Rock, but vintage, like I said, maybe I don't know the story about Kid Rock. It just why do people have to make up lies about who they are to be successful? I mean, at least I don't think Kid Rock's a shitty role model. I mean, he's not the greatest, but he's definitely like Jelly Roll. It gets when you see when when your third eye's like all perked up and you actually see the buffoonery there, it's fucking disgusting. It is right down fucking ugly vintage. I'm telling you. I know everybody loves Bunny, but I don't think Bunny loves herself. You know what I mean? She's lacking something because I don't know. I'm not saying because she's a businesswoman and she's more successful than me. I couldn't give 2 fucks. I'm doing this is what pisses me off. I have to do this knowing I'm gonna get attention, and if I don't know. Hey, Vintage, have you ever seen Harlow Blonde's videos? That's an attention seeker too. You gotta like, holy smokes. Like, this is the thing, I hate fucking being mean. Ah! Don't you have to tell the truth? You know what? That's a truly loving person, right? Like, people are fucking sick in the brain. Like, why would the world not wanna come together and fucking force Peter Hotez to fucking debate? RFK. You know what I mean? Well, it's because the news is all telling you, "Oh, this guy's an idiot." Blah, 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 blah. That's the thing. Like, I try and tell my wife, "No, no, you're seeing one side of it." She's like, "No, you're just seeing one side." And I was like, "No, I actually have the time, and I do watch both sides, Joe." That's why I say never trust anybody. But I don't know. She would, and the funny thing is she would do anything to protect my kids, anything. But if she has to take ownership of, because she already has, "Carl, you're the one that made us get those shots." I was like, "No, I fucking didn't. I didn't wanna fucking get it. I got it because you fucking died." Like, I was told I would hurt him if I didn't. So, yeah, I wanted us to get them. But don't go fucking pointing fingers at me because you're the one that did all the fucking research. I just went to my fucking doctor and said, "Hey, Dr. Gregory, what should I do, bud? Are you getting it?" And when he said he was getting it, I bought it. I bit the bullet. You know what I mean? But it was all for a purpose, vintage. You know what I mean? Is that I can show people it's all right to make a mistake. You know what I mean? As long as you learn from it. But my wife wants to sit in it. For some reason, wants me to sit in it. Not have the strength or courage to fucking encourage to kind of have it stopped. You know what I mean? Because it's still fucking floating the bullshit here, man. It's like you still see masks. There was this great, I think, I think, great psychiatrist, Carl Jung. And the message he left to the world was, if we don't take a look at our own dark side, this world is going to go into psychosis. So I'd like to see everybody come in, let's find out who we are. But no, we went the Freudian way. Hey, the Freudian way. The Freudian way. I think you can tell my wife about fucking Trudeau, and I'm just like, how many scandals do you want to go over, Joe? What is it, the SMC or whatever it is? There's the We Charity thing. There's the election interference. There's that fucking act that cost Canadians millions. There's not, our tax dollars go to fucking the WEF. We send tax dollars to the WEF. Are you fucking kidding me? Speaking of which, I want to mention this about Canada too. And I'm pretty disappointed in Rebel News that I don't think they ever followed this up. But I do remember watching this, and I'm quite sure the video's still up. And if I am wrong and somebody lets me know, I'll even take this video down based on this. So Rebel News was at Davos at the WEF thing, and they interviewed this guy outside of it who seemed very knowledgeable and was out there kind of protesting them and stuff like that. Well, one of the interesting things that he said is that the teachers union in Canada invested in companies that use child labor. Now, you would think Rebel News would have hit on that, right? Because they were like they let that air on the on their channel that this guy was saying this. You think that society, somebody would have been on that and taken a fucking look into it. That's pretty fucking sick. Our teachers would even have to agree that's sick. And if they didn't, they shouldn't be teaching anymore because they're just greedy fucks. You know what I mean? Can you imagine that? A teachers union investing. But then again, I seen it in the Senate in the States. They don't care that they're getting cobalt, that their companies are using children to fucking we're gonna work our way out of it. That's humanity today. Money over children. Money over children. Money over children. Well, we are like cattle. You know why? Because we allow ourselves to be like cattle. We're not willing to stand up for ourselves. Like, I don't know. It's maybe the whole world is brainwashed, or maybe I'm just in an alternate universe where I don't think children should be hurt, trafficked, anything. Like this fentanyl problem shouldn't be a problem. Like, I mean, this is something we should all come together on. Maybe it's just my simple thinking, and you know what I mean. I don't know. But my wife, for some reason, she likes that Trudeau guy. I think maybe it's his rainbow backing or something like that. Hey Joe, what's wrong with my idea of thinking that they used that rainbow to push it on children? You know what I mean? Why should people have pride in their sexuality? Shouldn't they have pride in themselves, regardless of their sexuality? Like, fine. It's because you're gay doesn't mean you're trans. I don't know why they have to stick them together. But then again, I don't understand it anymore, anyways. Vintage. I don't. Because, well, I've showed those videos with that rugby, right? That dude that says he's a chick playing rugby. Well, his spouse is a woman, like a biological woman, I think. I might be fooled, but I think it's a biological woman. So what the fuck is the point of that? I don't I don't get it. Like, I went to the hospital 5 times for violence and suicide that never fucking existed. It was a facade. It was fucking made up. But in this day and age, a fucking man can play in a physical woman's sport because he says he's a woman. Like, this is like, I believe that this is mental illness. I don't think being chosen from God is a mental illness. I think if you're chosen by God, you know you're chosen by God, and you'll back up why you think you're chosen by God. Because I know there's a lot of people who say that they are, but they certainly will not back their fucking shit up. because they're fake. And this is the thing. I want to be nice. I want to say, hey, we're all chosen, which we are. But fuck, there's so many fake mind fucking. They're mind fucking people, just like fucking them, mind fucking them. And they say good things. That's the thing. They say they have to hook you on some stuff. But hey, what are you really doing? What is your fucking purpose? You're here to help humanity, but you're telling them to avoid their fucking problems. Let's wait for ascension. We have no problems. Just wait for liftoff. We never have to deal with anything. Just vibe high. See, I vibe high. I sound negative, but I'm fucking positive. If I keep going, I can change it. So we don't have to live in a fucking false reality and we can live in an actual positive environment rather than this false positive bullshit we got floating around the world right now. Holy shit. Like, look at positivity today, vintage. Mr. Positivity, Dagbert. He is so living in a lie that it's like I don't know how people maybe I'm just lucky and I can see it and he's you know what I mean? Maybe he's very good deceiving, but then again, he is more convincing than Henry Hildebrand. And Henry Hildebrand's actually got people fucking handing over their livelihood to him. You know what I mean? Oh, that's what it's all about. That's evil Satan in everybody's brains, thinking they're better than everybody else, all the while playing so small because they actually give their power up to Satan. Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and whoever else. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go. I just wanted to come on here. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just not like there are awake people out there. Vintage. Go watch that episode of Roseanne. And if you've been paying attention to me, let me know. Do you remember? Do you remember I had a message for Trump? This is a long time ago. Do you remember I had a message for Trump? I'm just trying to put the pieces together. And once that Roseanne episode, and I'm like, oh man, shit's gonna get real. I'll save it, vintage. I'll save it. Maybe someone will be interested and go take a look back one day. What did Carl want to say to Trump? It's fucking hard living in my head, vintage. Can you imagine? I'm just before I go, I'm just gonna say it. Could you imagine walking around thinking you're the fucking Mashiach, the Messiah? Everybody fucking hates you. Nobody listens to you. And hey, when they do find out you are, they're gonna want to be around you and stuff like that. They're gonna want to be my friends. But here, the message I think from anybody, because I might not be the Mashiach, you know what I mean? But I think they're gonna have to tell you that the Mashiach is you. You have to be your own Mashiach. Don't follow men. If you follow men, and especially me, you're gonna wind up in places you don't want to be. You want to find your own way. You know what I mean? Be careful who you decide to put all your fucking everything into. Decide for yourself. You know what I mean, vintage? I just think there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And if we all put the pieces together, we'd find out that, well, the Native heritage and the Jewish heritage and the Christian heritage and the Muslim and the Hindu and the Buddha and any other thing that I'm not getting, maybe all comes together. You know what I mean? I just vintage. I'm gonna be honest. This is the best book ever. The best book ever. I don't know if it's the truth. This is not the word of God. Jesus was the word of God. And he was the truth and the way. You know what I mean? I think the message is in here. You know what I mean? But this is why I have a tough time with it. Like King James, he was not a, I don't think he was a, do you know what I mean? There's something peculiar about King James. Now, maybe the stuff that I've watched and read is fabrication. I don't know. But it's not, it's for someone who wanted to dictate how the way you were supposed to live. You know what I mean? But then people will just come back and say those were more barbaric days. Why were they more barbaric days? They had the word of God. Jesus. You know what I mean? And then you got to think, just like in our day and age, in that day and age, they had censorship. They took some of the books out. Why? Why is Enoch still in the Ethiopian Bible? You, do, you, do you know what I mean? What about the Dead Sea Scrolls? Like to me, that stuff, it kind of resonates with me. You know what I mean? It's all about the truth, all about knowing yourself. And in order to know yourself, you got to be honest with yourself because you can't change if you're not honest with yourself. It's all in that stuff, man. Like, I like the Gnostic stuff. Who knows? Maybe it's just a matter of time when we get to figure everything out. You know what I mean? Vintage. Maybe we wake up. Maybe Christians can all come together around the world and say, hey, Mr. Pope, are you legit? And if you aren't legit, it's time to quit. Hey, let us in the Vatican. Let's find out what you guys have been hiding. Christ is for everybody, not just a few buffoons, for everyone. Like every Christian should agree with that, right? No man should be any better than yourself. You should know that as a Christian. You should not be a slave to another man. But I don't think they get that. A lot of them just, Jesus died for my sins. He's the man that would wash my feet if I wanted him to. And he is awesome because he died for my sins. I just don't think so. I think he was trying to say, when he said, pick up your cross, I think he was saying, hey, travel in my footsteps. Be willing to die for the Father. Be willing to do whatever it takes, regardless of how crazy you look. You know what I mean? You got to admit, all these people in the Bible probably look crazy. You know what I mean? I know I look crazy, but that's why I've also said, hey, Talk to me, find out why I feel this way. Hey, maybe I got show and tell too, but who knows? Well, I should probably go. I got people coming through the door or something, I don't know. Have a good one, Vintage.